jalopy and polish the wheels. She's gotta be the smartest of the automobiles. Polish the paintwork and clean off the rust. They won't see our chassis for dust. And when we arrive miles ahead of the rest, everyone will know that our jalopy is best. They'll have to admit she's a car you can trust. So it's Monte Carlo or bust.
Happening out there in internet land. Happy Christmas, everybody. Happy Christmas and a very prosperous and healthy 2025. My name is Dr. H. I am the Cryptopractor. Welcome to the show Monte Carlo or Bust, which gives crypto investing strategies for the beginner, but in action. So if you stay with me with the show here, I'm going to show you things that you must know about HEX before you stake it. And no one else can show it to you. And no one else has ever shown you this. So this is good stuff. You're going to like it. And if you do like it, do hit the like, hit the subscribe, ding the bell, and more importantly, share this information with friends, family members who are thinking of getting involved in crypto. And you can refer them to me in the future. Just send them to me. My channel, which is DrH-TheCryptoPractor, is all about crypto investing strategies for the beginner. And I do like to get them in action. So I do like to get people doing stuff because that is the way. Now, as always, this is not, oh, look, StreamYards has changed around. So this is not financial advice. Are you not entertained? Yes, so as always, not financial advice. I am a chiropractor, my main gig. I do like crypto. I've been involved now for 4 years, coming up to 4 years, and you're going to see that in a little bit. I do like to get hands-on. I do like to show you what I've got going on, not particularly because I want to show you what I've got going on, but because nobody ever showed me this. And it is good to actually see this stuff in action. Now, it looks like the actual stream is 3 or 4 minutes behind. So anyway, if you'd like to spank that like and share it with friends and family, then that would be awesome. Okay, right, now diving in. Now, it is Christmas Day. Now, why am I doing this? Some of my stakes are coming out. I've gone and checked them out, and the gas price on Ethereum is very low. For those of you new, welcome. There's some things I may say, which this is probably for the intermediate person. So just hang in here. There's some stuff that's important. There's some important basic principles. Gas is, I'm going to speak as if you are a beginner because this is a beginner's channel, but there is some nuances here that I'm going to cover that for the next generation OG, this is going to be really important. And for the blossoming neophyte, like myself, also very important. Okay, so these nuances are important. So gas fees fluctuate, especially on Ethereum. Ethereum, unlike Bitcoin, you can do a lot of stuff on Ethereum. Bitcoin network is basically buying and selling, and that's about it. There is some stuff that they brought in recently. Basically, they bolted on some stuff which isn't as impressive as the Ethereum ecosystem and isn't as impressive as the Pulsechain ecosystem, which is the next iteration after Ethereum, the next generation really, which is both cheaper and faster than Ethereum. I personally like it, and the logo is, right, let's have a look, see if I can get this right. Yeah, there it is up there. Okay, so the Pulsechain is the one on the end. Okay, that is the logo for Pulsechain, or actually Pulse, which is the cryptocurrency that is the gas fee for Pulsechain. And equally on Ethereum, for those of you that heard of Ethereum, which is up there, boop, there it is, the blue one. Ethereum, the currency there, the cryptocurrency is Ether, and if you pay fees to transact, or you do pay fees to transact, there is no middleman, so you need to pay fees to transact. And it's pretty expensive now. At the moment, it's 3 Gwei, which is ridiculously low. A couple of weeks ago, it was, last time I looked, it was probably 20 to 30 Gwei. When I was transacting a year ago, it was 150 Gwei, which is ridiculously expensive. It was costing $300 or $400 just to end stakes. So I want to show you stakes. If you're interested in staking on HEX, HEX is the first logo just up there. Boop, there it is. You can find it at hex.com. The links are down in the description. Also, I like to use gorealdefi.com, and I'm going to show you that very shortly. All right. This is Monte Carlo or Bust. This is the show, and this is the The premise of Monte Carlo or Bust is that we are taking $1,000 and turning it into some real estate in Monte Carlo. Now, the experiment started on the 12th of September 2024 as edutainment, not advice. I show you my investment strategy for beginners in action. For context, to buy a car parking space in Monaco costs 290,000 euros or $315,000, and a 2-room apartment will set you back 2.1 million euros or 2.3 million US dollars. So let's get going right now. Right, guys, so I'll show you the Monte Carlo or Bust wallet right at the end there. So what we're looking for is 315x to buy our car parking space, or 2,100x to buy our in fact, I don't even think it's 2 bedrooms. I believe it's two-room apartment. So that's probably like a studio. So anyway, but there we go. Now that isn't the subject of today's, we're going to cover that at the end. That's not the subject of today's show. But what we are going to cover is actually staking HEX. So if you just bear with me, I'm going to get this lined up. Now, what I need to do is, unfortunately, I need to go... Right, I'm just going to be just behind the screen here. I'm just going to throw defi.com. I've put the link down below, so don't go to the wrong place. You don't want to get scammed. But when you do arrive, launch Pulsechain apps. Now, for those of you new to crypto, you probably heard about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is the original. It showed us that we could exchange value. I've got a bunch of free videos on my channel, the Cryptopractor. So check that out. DrH-TheCryptoPractor, and that talks in detail about why crypto is useful, the uses of crypto, and where it all came to be. So Bitcoin showed us the way ahead, but the fact is you can't do a great deal with Bitcoin apart from buying and selling. So Ethereum launched, and that showed us the way ahead as far as putting contracts on the blockchain. And as a spin-off of that, or the next iteration, was Pulsechain, which is a cheaper form of Ethereum, faster, and actually it's got some very exciting things launching on it. And the main programs on the main core programs on Pulsechain are HEX, the bridge, Launchpad, and the exchange. So what I'm showing you here is HEX. So if you really, it's fairly simple to get onto to buy HEX. Now you can do it on Ethereum. You can buy Ethereum on any exchange and take it off the exchange and go to a decentralized wallet, so that you're finances are safe when you're not subject to a third party. The whole point, the whole reason crypto was developed, invented, was to cut out the middleman, so you don't have to go to a third party to beg for your money. Okay, so you get your Ethereum straight away off of the exchange, be it like Kraken. If it's Kraken, you need to use to get your money out of your bank, and then you take it to a wallet such as, I particularly like Rabby. I like Rabby. I don't have any links, but Rabby.io is the URL. There is MetaMask, very popular, a little bit glitchy when you're dealing with more advanced chains like Pulsechain, when you're dealing with the premier certificate of deposit in the world. Okay, let's rephrase that. The premier crypto certificate of deposit in the world. When you're dealing with that, I like Rabby. Well, Rabby, let's just stick with Rabby for now, because this really isn't about wallets, and I do have an entire video on wallets. Just check it out on the channel. Today, really, we have come to deal with HEX. So you could click on this here, and it will bring you to the HEX. hex.pulsechainapp.com. Now, this is an IFPS. What that means is it's a decentralized website platform. What that means is it can't be taken down. Like the website can be taken down by whoever's running that website. So if you have a front end on the website, it can actually be taken out. This is IFPS, so it isn't actually controlled by anyone. It's stuck on a decentralized website, basically. So in this case, we can see it's connected to the blockchain. In this case, it's Pulsechain mainnet. All right. And I'm just going to show you around this. Well, I've actually done one already because this does take a little while to get organized. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this, which is a screenshot of the HEX site. And this is staking. Okay, so we can see what I've got available in my wallet there. So to stake, that's the, and in this case, this is Pulsechain. So this would be PHEX, or as it's called, HEX, if you're on Pulsechain. So Pulsechain, there are two types of HEX. Because back on the 12th of May 2023, Richard Hart realized that the gas fees on Ethereum were getting too expensive to run HEX as a viable certificate of deposit. He created his own chain, Pulsechain, and on there is PHEX, and on the other chain is EHEX, on Ethereum HEX. I'm going to show you the differences, which is why you need to know about this before you do any staking. And it's Christmas Day today. This day is here. It's day 1851. Okay, so this is actually, it's 1850. This is a day ahead because it's in Universal Time, and I'm in North America. Actually, I'm usually on the website when I come down to here, it's actually going to flash up and it's going to tell me the date, but that's going to say the 25th of December. That's the end date for this stake. Okay, just so happens I'm ending it today, and it happens to be a day when there's no one on the not the internet, but there's no one dealing crypto. Okay, so the less people dealing crypto, then the cheaper the gas fees are going to be. That's one of the ways you can get cheaper gas fees. And I'm going to produce another video on how to get cheap gas fees on Ethereum. There's a way you can actually make it 2,000 times cheaper. Okay, so just subscribe, and I'll drop that a little bit later in probably a month or so. This isn't my main gig. Crypto is not my main gig. I'm doing this basically because I'm on holiday and because I'm ending some stakes. Okay, let's see if I can actually get to the real site. I was still connected to the blockchain. Okay, so it does this sometimes where I run everything off of Wi-Fi, which isn't ideal in this room. But anyway, so that's why I pulled this one out. Okay, now, right, first thing you need to know, well, this is the start date and the end date. Up here is where you actually do the staking at the beginning of the process, but you really need to know the end of the process first, which I never had. Okay, but when I first started staking back in 21, all right. So the end process is the end staking. As you can see down here on this last column, I've got 4 of these stakes are actually in red and one's in black. So that tells me straight away that I can end stake the one in black. Okay, so I need to end stake that one. Now, The end date is actually today, okay? You also need to know what the penalties are for end staking early. Now, I would highly, highly, highly advise not to end stake early unless you thoroughly know what you're doing. As with all things in crypto, you press the button, it's your responsibility, not mine. This is not financial advice, so you need to know. So do your own research, okay? Now, end staking. If you prematurely end stake, I'll give you a very rough idea. You can research on the internet, and I'll actually put a link. I do have a link. There's a decentralized document which explains staking that was done by one of the early developers. But roughly, the idea is that in the first half of the stake period, so if you're staking for a year's period, in the first 6 months, if you end stake anytime in that first 6 months, you're going to lose all of your money, including the principal, okay? So you don't just lose the interest, you lose the principal, okay? Then after that, there's as you get closer towards the end state, you lose less. Okay, you need to do your research on that. I don't end stake anything before it's due. There is a caveat on that now, and this you have to be very careful about. If you make a stake and it clicks onto the first day, I believe it's if it clicks onto the first day, you can end stake it safely. I've done that once before, but the second time I did it, I lost a bunch of money. It wasn't all my money, it was a lot of it. Okay, so you need to read into that in detail. There's some sort of caveat that if you do it within the first 24 hours of staking, but also it's got to do with clicking over to universal time as well. So you really need to be on the ball for that. So basically the bottom line is, once you don't make a stake unless you 100% mean to stake it for that length of time, you also need to have a strategy and an understanding. If you stake this money, you aren't going to get it back until it's finished, okay? So you need to be aware of that. You can't end stake early. If you end stake, the chances are you might lose a lot of it or all of it even. That end staking money is one of the things that goes towards yield. And this is one of the other things that you need to know about. Where does the yield come from? Okay, because that's going to make more sense. All right. So the first thing is, you don't end a stake until it's black. All right. So, and the other thing to know is, if you don't, when it turns black, when the day, the maturity day comes up, you have 2 weeks grace to end the stake. After that, it gets charged, it starts to bleed out at 1% per week, okay? Which initially I thought, well, that sounds pretty reasonable. But when you think about it, if you're making 5 or 10 or 15% on the staking, and you get super busy, and if, like me, you split it into several wallets for safety, and then forget that those several wallets both have a P chain and an E chain, like a Pulsechain and an Ethereum element to them, and then you can lose track of your stakes. And then when you find them again, they may have bled out, or they bled out a bit. And that actually happened to me. I think they'd been running for 16 weeks. So in other words, I lost 16% of the investment, and you don't see that until it gets calculated at the end. And the other thing is, when you click end stake, all right, this is when the big calculation happens, and you get charged gas for the calculation. So when you stake your HEX, the amount that you get charged for gas is not that great, because it's a small transaction. It's a small calculation that happens. But then the interest calculation, if you've done it for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, the gas you get charged is much more, because it has to make the calculations, okay? And there was something that happened with Ethereum. It was before my time. I think it was around 2020, where they changed the way that they did calculations, and it greatly, greatly disadvantaged HEX, the HEX protocol. Okay, and it basically punished the HEX protocol. That's why a lot of people left, and they couldn't end stake, or they had to pay a lot of money to end stake in the bull market. But at the same time, in the bull market, chances are you got much, much higher returns than in the bear market, which is when it's going to be cheaper to end stake. All right. Okay, so hopefully we've got some stuff there, because I do want to show you the staking and end staking. Okay, so we got onto the HEX contract. We're on Ethereum main now. I'm going to click on staking. This might take a little bit longer. So let's go back, and I'm I'm going to talk a little bit more about what we've already done. Hopefully this will pop up in a moment or two. Okay, so this is Pulsechain. All right, so this is what I shot earlier, where I took the screenshot earlier. Now, I just had a quick look through, and then this is the stakes that I've got running, and this is the column of the principal. So this is what I've staked. All right, and this is the yield. This is the yield I've made from it. Okay. Now, when you divide one into the other, I take the yield, I divide it by the principal. In this case, I get 3.5%. All right. So although these figures here are saying like I'm getting 8%, 30%, 27, 35, 38, what I've actually got is 3.5% at this stage. Now, these are running for a lot longer. This is a 5555 stake. So for those of you who are new, 5555, you'll see around the community of Richard Hart, HEX, Pulsechain Pulsex. That means you have staked for 15 years. 5,555 days. Okay, and you can see in this case, this progress is 21%, but the yield at the end is going to be 42%. So basically, every 2 years is going to double the amount of this stake. This is a tiny principle, but I did it when I first. Actually, it doesn't show here. 666. That was the day that I first put it in. It was in 2021, I think, like around about July 2021. Okay, so it's been running for 3 years. It's kind of doubled in value, which is a great return compared to any other like legacy finance out there. Okay, so it's a high return in theory. Okay, this gives you the APY. So this is over a year. But if you do a short stake, and I've done a few short stakes recently, this one I'm ending now, for example. Is 8% over a year, but it's merely 6 months. Again, this is the screenshot, but on the actual program, when I hover, it will tell me the date. Okay, so this is 6 months. So I've actually made I think 5.1% on this one. I calculated them a second ago. Okay, so you got to understand, what you're making, what the return is. And I'll give you, for example, if I took HEX and HEX and I put them together on a liquidity providing, and this is a more advanced strategy. So if you're a beginner, just take in the principle. Don't actually take any action on this one unless you know what you're doing. If I take those two and bond them together on Pulsechain. So I bring my Ethereum HEX over to Pulsechain because I don't want to stake it anymore on Ethereum, and I bond them together. I did a calculation of a pair I had running, and I was making 16% per year. So obviously I need to leave it in there for a year, and I think at the moment it's been running for about 6 months. But the point is the potential return is higher, and I can get out of that pair assuming that the ratio has come back to where it was when I first invested. And if what I'm talking to you about is gobbledygook, then just don't get involved with this. But basically, when you bond those two coins together, you put them in a liquidity pair, they exist at a ratio. And when you take them out, you want them really to come back to that ratio so you don't have impermanent loss. And then the fees that you make are actually profit, as opposed to if they are no longer at the same ratio, there's an element of impermanent loss, which needs calculating, okay, at the time that you end stake, that you pull the liquidity pair. Okay, and that's a variable. To be honest, it's outside of your control. So it's a bit of a gamble. Whereas this is more certain. Okay, the percentage is more certain, especially if you're happy to tie it up for long term. Okay, and that may well be of benefit, but what you lose, of course, is the opportunity cost. Do you want to sell? But that's exactly why you're getting the interest rate, because so mostly it's going to be money that you're quite happy to have put away for a couple of years. A lot of these stakes I'm showing you are ones that I was basically experimenting with. Okay. Right, guys. So anyone out there, throw a comment in the chat. That was good to see you. Oh, I'm going back forever and ever and ever. Let's see what else we got. Okay, right, here we go. So here we go. Now, this time we're on the Ethereum name met. So what I was talking to you about there before was a screenshot of Pulsechain. So I went on to Pulsechain, same wallet. We just swap it over here. So if I want to go to see what I got on Pulsechain, I click down. I'm going to stay where I am. So this is day 1851. So it says, well, 25th at 7 p.m. to 26th at just before 7 p.m. Okay. This is where I stake. So it looks like my wallet isn't connected because usually it would say how much HEX I've got available. Actually, I may have no HEX in my wallet, perhaps. Yeah, it looks like that's what the case is. And then I put the number of stake days in there. Okay. But as I say, before you stake, really, you want to be sure that you know, you understand this idea. And so I'm just having a look at my wallet. I think you can see this now. Yeah. So yeah, I've got no, that's why it's not showing up as anything there. There's no HEX there. Right, okay, and then this shows me where we are. So we're going to go and do the end stake. Boop. We're going to end the stake. You can see I've got a lot more HEX stakes. That's basically because I rolled out of PHEX into HEX when the ratios I thought were good, but actually they were pretty poor compared to what they are now. And set up a big ass staking ladder. I was going to talk about staking ladders another day. That's another strategy you can use with HEX. But basically, you space out your investments over periods that you're going to need the money. For example, you're going to go to university if you're a younger person, or you're going to have kids, or your children need to go to university. So this is just basically for my Rabby wallet. It's saying, look, it's going to cost. Oh my goodness me! It's going to cost me $7 to end this stake. Jesus Christ! I mean, I've made 11,000 HEX, which HEX, which I've got, which ain't that much. So, for example, and this is another thing you need to know. So, if you're doing a short stake on Ethereum, especially, if you're doing short stakes, you want to do them on Pulsechain and network. Don't do them on Ethereum. You're going to end up losing money. 0.00, I think we're 0.0038. Okay, so I got like 44 bucks. So it's going to cost me $7 to earn $44. So yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. So it looks like I'm going to go out. Now I could, and I've done this before on other. In fact, look out for the gas saving strategy. I'm not going to do it now because I just want this to go through. We're going to sign and confirm. If this is your first time, you're going to have to sign twice. The first is to give permission for the protocol to interact with the wallet, and then the second time is to actually do the transaction. So that's ending now. It's probably taken 5-10 seconds so far. Let's see how long it takes in total. There is quite a lot of stuff going on this computer. I'll shut some of it. And then this is the Ethereum mainnet. This is where we're looking a little bit earlier. Now on Ethereum overall, it's a 20%. I actually looked at the history underneath this screen here where it says active stakes. There's actually history. So all the stakes that I've ended, and there's a whole bunch of them over the last 4 years, I've made 28% on HEX overall. Okay. Now compare that with PHEX, which when you bear in mind, I've been working on it a lot less. And also the stakes I've made mostly have been a little shorter. It's actually 5% overall. Okay. So I don't know if that would apply. That's not comparing apples with apples though, because I had a lot less stakes on Ethereum than, on Pulsechain than on the Ethereum network. Okay. And on Ethereum, they go back 3 years more because I started in 21 and Pulsechain didn't exist until 23. Okay, but it looks like for some reason, well, maybe it's because it's longer stakes that I've used in the past, I'm making a lot more. But of course, with time, that is actually going to increase on Pulsechain. So what I'll do is I'll have a look and see how you make, well, not how you make, but to put together a strategy of how, when you should invest on in HEX and when you should invest in PHEX. But at the moment, it looks like shorter stakes, 100% on PHEX every time. If you're doing the longer stakes with a bit more of a chunk of money, Then Ethereum. Is the yield better? We don't really know at the moment. Now, the yield comes from a couple of areas. The first is inflation of HEX. So HEX always inflates at 3.69%. Okay, 3.69%. So what that means is if you have HEX and you're just holding it liquid, then every year you're going to lose 3.9%. Now, if that is of advantage to you because you feel that the price of HEX is going to increase and you want to be able to sell, and I am long, I'm not a trader, I'm a long holder, then that is of advantage to you to not be staked. So, for example, if you could make 2x, that's actually 100%, then that is 30 times more than 3.5%. All right. However, there are obviously the ups and downs and the selling, and to protect yourself from yourself, often a long-term strategy of just staking and leaving it and forgetting about it is much more beneficial for both your health and your finances. Okay, right. Okay, let's see if we've got no, we haven't. So it says it's connecting to the blockchain, but it looks like it's having trouble connecting to the stakes here. There's also something else which I'm finding a little bit troublesome, and that is this. This is the Ethereum network. This is the Ethereum HEX front end. The current value in US dollars is not represented. Okay, it's 0. Whereas when I look at the Pulsechain front end for HEX, you have the US dollars. Now, this is either a glitch, which is, a little troublesome, or it's been done on purpose, marketing-wise, to obfuscate or hide the value of HEX, because obviously compared to if you invested at the all-time high of 52 cents, which is quite close to when I first got in, and you're now at 0.3 of a cent, then obviously that's a big difference, or 0.28 even, I think, at the moment. So that's like 5 for 10. Yeah, that's more than 100x reduction. All right, so maybe that's been removed, so you don't look at that figure and go, "Oh my God, I invested so much, and look where it is now." Or it's something like an Oracle issue. Whatever it is, if any of you guys know, pop down in the comments if this is after the live stream. How do we reach out? How do we get hold of a developer to either deal with it or at least explain what's going on? That would be phenomenal. All right, now let's see if we can go back and do some hands-on stuff. Right. Okay, here we are. Okay, so I ended that stake. So it's gone. The black stake has gone that we were looking at earlier. This is it here. As I was showing you before, if we highlight that, December 25th, that's when it's ended at 7 p.m. So this is just after that. Yeah, so we're just in the window there. And that's counted down. Yeah. Okay, and we know we were safe because it was black. Sorry, just for a horrible moment there, I thought I might have ended it prematurely. Let's have a look and see what that cost me. If we look at the transactions, I'm currently doxing the crap out of myself, but I'll maybe just come back and sort that out, or maybe I won't. Yeah, well, we saw it. It was about $7. All right. Now, I just want to compare that with exactly the same transaction. Okay. It's the same transaction. We're going to swap over to Pulsechain mainnet. Okay. So what happened when on the 12th of May 2023, when Pulsechain launched, all the coins that were on Ethereum got completely copied onto Pulsechain, 100%. And what that meant was if you held HEX, it got copied to a PHEX version. So what we're looking at now is the same transactions, but one was on HEX and one was on PHEX. Here it is here. Actually, I'm completely making that up. So I started both of these. I staked these both the same amounts at the same time. Yeah, sorry, it was after the launch. Okay, and we're going to end the stake there. And this is less than 0.1 of a cent. Sorry, 0.7 of less than 1 cent. 0.77 of a cent. Compare that with $7. That is literally 1, 2, 3. So that's literally 1,000 times cheaper to transact this stake on Pulsechain. So that is another thing that you need to be aware of. Again, gas fees. Check out the video that I'm doing on how to reduce gas fees on Ethereum to make them almost 2,000 times cheaper in some cases. So I'm going to click on confirm. That confirms that. Bish, bash, bosh. Okay. So today we have learned about yield. I talked briefly about the yield as far as inflation goes, but there's something else. If you early end stake and you pay a penalty, or if you don't end stake quickly enough because it's matured and you've gone past the 2 weeks, the penalty goes back to the staker class. So in other words, if you have stakes, then you're getting a cut of everybody that's early end staking and everyone's penalties. Okay, it goes to both to the OA, which is an entity controlled by the founder, and it goes to the staker class. Okay, so which is why it's a nice idea to be staking. So when people are end staking because they have been fudded out of their bags, you as a staker, if you're holding, you get rewarded for adding to the ecosystem. All right, guys. So that one's going to pop up there. That'll be finished. And that is me out of the stake. Those coins go back to my wallet. Okay, so they'll be liquid in my wallet. Whilst they're being staked, they don't appear in my wallet. So you can have, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in a wallet. But if they're all staked, when someone looks at that wallet, they can't actually see them unless they know to connect onto the HEX front end. Okay, so there we are there. And that one's finished. Okay, gang, I trust that's been of some interest. Now, just before you go, yeah, I'm not going to go to the Monte Carlo wallet today. It's around about 3,000, so it's a 3x from where we started. We've got another 100x from there to go if we want to buy a car parking space to make our 300x. And then so we got like 800x to get our 2-bedroom apartment in Monaco. And right, yeah, I'm just going to finish on this one. So if you're in Monaco, this is what the guys in Monaco eat. The Monegasque is the name for people who live in Monaco. I think it's actually the two names. One is for the people that are national to Monaco. They were born in Monaco. And there's another name which isn't used too much. But you just look it up, it's pretty obvious. So talks about foie gras. So that is duck liver, oysters, snail, smoked salmon, Christmas classics. But this year, explore local recipes. So now this is cool. Let's look at this. This is Easy Pets, driving your pet between Monaco and London. Okay, so there must be some Brits with a ton of money that want to bring their pets over. They only live there for a few months because look, there's 3 departures per month each way, and it costs you like £700. That's about that's $1,000, perhaps a little bit more than that, probably $1,200 to have your pet driven out to see you. So obviously they go into their houses to make sure that they are there long enough to qualify for the tax-free status, and they bring their dogs backwards and forwards. But anyway, that's not what we're here talking about. But there is a video on that. Just check it out. It talks about tax advantages of living in Monaco. Just check it out on the playlist for Monte Carlo or Bust. There we go. Panda Natal. This is Natal is Christmas. Okay, Monegasque is also kind of a mixture. It has a mixture language between French, although the official language is French. There's a Monegasque language which is a mixture between French and Italian, which is Italy's literally 5 kilometers away from Monaco. Okay, so this pan natal is a little bread. It has walnuts shaped in a cross because you're going to do that. And they used to bake it Christmas Eve in communal ovens. And take a big shout out to the MonacoTribune.com. This is a nice little article. And so, yeah, big shout out to you guys. Oh, yeah, I'm just checking to make sure you're still there. And let's just check the chat. Anyone in the chat? Hey, Winnie Rose Torres, what's this? What's this? What this is nice to see you. This is Monte Carlo or bust. So we're talking about HEX. HEX is a crypto which can be staked. It is the world's first certificate of deposit. It is the premier certificate of deposit in the world on the blockchain. And also we're doing some stuff on Monaco, just as a bit of a side note in between the crypto, just to give people a bit of perspective on different parts of the world. All right, so boop, let's put that there. Sorry, we're going back there. So that's the pan natal, and then we've got Bob Baguans. So this is a ravioli stuffed with chard. Chard is kind of green and a little bit bitter in my taste, but I'm sure this stuff tastes good. Crepe Suzette, that is an absolute winner. Very thin pancake, which is a crepe, super thin, but orange juice. They put Grand Marnier on, they flambe it, so they light it. Café de Paris is the fancy place in Monaco where all the Lambo drivers go. Well, if you're poor, you drive a Lambo there, and you can make it at home to impress your guests. And there's actually a pretty neat recipe there. This one, pissenlit à l'air with red onions, savory tart, typical in the south of France. So that's kind of interesting. Christmas shortbread biscuits. There you go, in Monaco and in Scotland. All right. Okay. So that's our food there. Right, we're going to go back here. I'm going to bang out of this. Stop the screen share. There we go. Thanks, Winnie. Thanks for coming along. Anything more constructive? Any of you guys here on the replay? Just pop it down below. Any comments that you have from HEX staking is awesome. Any comments on food in Monaco? That would also be greatly appreciated. And have a great Christmas. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas. Enjoy 2026. Enjoy 2025 even. We haven't got there quite yet. Enjoy 2025. It is going to be a corker. Stay strong and stay long. Let's see what we got here. All right, guys, stay strong and stay long. Dr. H out.
Bitcoin dropped 75, Ethereum dropped 85, HEX dropped 95. Which one do you think is going to get up the hardest?
Thank you. Please pull forward.